Hey, everybody, welcome to Curveball. This is with Heather Campbell, and I am here with the one and the only Emily King, who this is her very first thing she's done after giving birth like 3 months ago, but your first professional thing. So this is amazing. Everybody, let's pay attention. I'm bringing somebody out of maternity leave.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, so here's her story. That moment you think you got life figured out, the business is thriving, the baby is on the way, and you're like, sure, I'm going to swan dive right into motherhood, take a few weeks up, cuddle up a bit, and then I'll be back in boss mode by brunch, right? And then enter stage left, huge curveball that hit her right in the face. Today's guest, Emily King, is a wealth coach and founder of the Rich Women Incorporated. Oh my God. And I have a stat for you that I found yesterday that I think is going to absolutely blow your mind. A powerhouse who built a 6-figure business helping women claim abundance with ease. But when postpartum anxiety and depression knocked her off her feet, oh gosh, it happens to the most joyful people. It must be so surprising for other people around you too.
Yeah.
So then she didn't just rebuild her business, she redefined her entire relationship with success, healing, and self-worth. This is going to be so good. She's walked through the fire in the dark, literally, come out wiser, softer. I like this, softer and stronger. And now she's talking about it all openly and refreshingly so that no other woman has to feel like she's the only one unraveling behind the scenes. Emily, welcome to Curveball.
Wow. I'm getting teary-eyed already. You just saying that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I hope in a good way.
Yeah.
Let's rewind to that moment when you, like the business boss, like I can see you just being like, I don't even have to know you that well to know that you seem like someone, like you're on top of your game. I came over to your house and was like, can I have a sandwich? Like you would actually have sandwich ingredients, which I just is like the height of adulthood.
Not only a sandwich ingredients, but I now have a panini maker. So yeah. You get a panini, Heather.
You are such a show off. So take us back to those early weeks after your daughter Zoe was born. So she's about 3.5 now.
Yes.
What did this postpartum anxiety and depression look like in real time? And how did you recognize, like, at what point were you just, this is not just, I just had a baby. What am I doing? Like, at what point did you notice like it was something more?
Yeah. So I actually had a beautiful hospital experience despite having an unplanned C-section. So I had my C-section. We were in hospital.
Too.
Did you?
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, okay. And I had a really great physical recovery from the C-section. And we were in hospital for 3 days and then got sent home. And I remember the very first night that we were home, just out of nowhere, uncontrollably sobbing and just hyperventilating. And my husband was like, what? I was like, I don't know what's happening. And I didn't know what was happening. So I remember I FaceTimed a girlfriend of mine and she calmed me down, was like, it's okay. Like, it's your first night home. And so that was that. And then at least here in Canada, what they do is they send a public health nurse to your house the first week that you're home.
Oh yeah. They for sure do not do that in America. I can tell you that much.
No. Yeah. So
they're just like, take this baby. They check to make sure you have a car seat. That's it. They're like, good luck to you.
Yeah.
See ya.
So I remember, God bless the public health nurse. She came to the house a few days after we got home and she was checking on me and she had to take out my stitches and stuff. And I remember just breaking down crying. And then she started to cry with me and I understand. She's, I get it. And
oh my gosh. Do you just ever think that person, to have somebody cry with you is really, you just must have just felt so seen.
Yes. And so nurtured in that moment of, I get it. You're not alone. And I remember her saying to me, baby blues are normal. 80+% of new moms get baby blues. But she said, that's only supposed to last for 2 weeks. So if this carries on, that's something to keep an eye out for. So I remember counting down the minutes to 2 weeks. I'll be like, okay, 2 weeks can't come fast enough.
Day 15, right?
And I remember I got to the 2-week mark and still just spiraling. And I remember it got so bad and this was quick. Cause I know some people, it can hit them on month 4, it can hit them a little later, but this just came in fast and furious. And I remember it got so bad where I literally couldn't turn the lights out at night because I literally couldn't be in the darkness.
Why is that? Just because it was too much? You couldn't.
It was the anxiety thing. It's bananas. It blows my mind that it would just give me like a panic attack being in the dark, being in the literal dark.
Oh
which I
gosh.
find so fascinating. Like now that
don't you want to psychologically dissect what was like looking back at that when you think about how your anxiousness around this, like how it, do you ever think, oh, this is what I was trying to tell myself?
Right? Yeah. Yes. And like, I was in denial, and I remember literally texting a friend of mine who also had her daughter was, I think, 6 months at the time. And I remember texting her being like, I just don't want to have postpartum anxiety or depression. And she was like, joke, she's like, sure, all of us got a little bit of that, like just joking around. Right. And that was the problem, was that, I shouldn't say the problem, but that was the confusing point was I was reaching out to a different mom every single day. And I'm really glad that my go-to coping mechanism is reaching out for help. Because I know some people literally go in a deep, dark hole and just hide. Whereas fortunately, my coping mechanism was, I need to talk to people and figure this out. Because this is, God, like I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And
then what is it like, your relationship with your daughter then too? Are you just not... like, how are you coping? Like, even just being a mother, like not just trying to take care of Emily, right? Like you got, like you have this other human, and everyone just, God, then there's this expectation about what a new mother is. Like there must have just been a lot happening.
I was in pure survival mode pretty quickly. I remember day 4 being home and saying we were at my parents' house for dinner, and I said, I have to sleep over tonight. And they were like, oh, okay. Like, you're welcome to sleep over if you like. And I said to my husband, I was like, we're sleeping here tonight. Like, I just needed that, like, home base, like, feeling of, like, almost me being mothered in that moment.
Right.
And I remember telling my sister that. I was like, yeah, I slept at mom and dad's last night. And she was like, why? I was like, I just needed help. I just needed people there.
Right.
And yeah, so I just went into this like true fight or flight mode, and I was reaching out to every mom, but everyone was saying to me, oh, it's a huge transition, a lot of changes. And I would be like, I know it's a lot of changes, and I know it's like a big deal, but like, this doesn't feel right. I should be able to sleep at night. Like I should be able to turn the lights off when I go to bed. And something, a little random tangent or like side note here is something that I shared publicly not long after having my baby was how we shouldn't comment on how fast women lose the baby weight. Because here's what happened is one of the symptoms of my anxiety was I had zero appetite. So I was dropping weight. Like I remember I literally kept an apple on my nightstand because in the middle of the night, I would be so hungry that the only thing I could get down was an apple. And so,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad. And so I was dropping weight very fast. And within about 5 weeks postpartum, I was below my pre-birth weight.
Oh, seriously? In 5 weeks? So then people are probably like, oh my God, you look amazing.
Yeah.
And you're just like dying
and I'm thinking,
on the inside.
Yeah, I'm like, if you only knew why I lost so much weight so quickly, it's because I literally can't eat. I can't get anything down. And so breastfeeding was like the question because I had no supply.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just, and then the breaking point was when insomnia hit for me. So I remember by this point it was like 5.5, 6 weeks postpartum. And I said to my husband, because my daughter Zoe, she was on formula by that point, and I said, I'm going to go to my parents to sleep tonight. You stay at the house with Zoe. I just need to not even hear a cry so that I can like sleep sound. Right. So I go to my parents' house, and I remember laying in their spare bedroom, and just my heart was racing the whole night. And I literally didn't sleep for 1 minute the entire night. I opened up EFT tapping videos. I opened up like
I drank a bottle of NyQuil.
I did EFT, I did hypnosis, I did meditation. I remember my face literally was hurting from tapping on my face so much trying to do EFT.
Oh my God, no wonder. Like I've had that insomnia where you start to make bargains with the time where you're just like, okay, if I can just get 3 hours, like I'll be able to function. And you're just like, if I can just get 2 hours. And you're like, if I can just rest, get into a deep rest.
Yeah.
And then oh God, that you're describing like every single business trip I was on. Like seriously, I'd be so like, when I'd come up from a business trip, my husband would be like, oh my gosh, why are you so tired? And I'm like, because I've been up for 72 hours straight.
Jeez. Yeah. And you're just delusional by that point.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So then at what point did you who did you finally find to help you out of this?
So I went on sleeping pills. And I don't know if you've ever been on sleeping pills before.
Oh yeah,
but
did you take like an Ambien or something like something like that?
I can't remember but I just remember I took it and it knocked me out for 4 hours, and then you wake up, but you feel like garbage.
Yes,
like you don't feel rested, whilst your body has technically been asleep for 4 hours, or that's as long as I would get out of it. You felt like you hadn't been sleeping. So
no,
when I'm sleeping,
if something like makes you go to sleep so fast, like I used to take Ambien on a business trip, and then like I would sometimes go shopping, like online shopping, and something would come into the mail, like flat irons for my daughter and me, and I'd be like, oh, like
wait
just this
minute.
whisper of a memory of ordering something. Like once I drafted a press release. Thank God I did not. Yeah. And like a press release is super formulaic. So the first line is usually always the same. So that one is just
ingrained
in my brain. Yeah. And then it just fell apart immediately afterwards. And I was so mortified. I'm so mad at myself that I didn't save it, because it would have been hilarious.
That would have been good.
You could see like where I was going, and then it would just completely fall apart again. And it's because it's like, it sedates your body, but it doesn't. Your brain does not. Your brain, yeah. I'm so glad I do not take those anymore. But there was a while where if I was on a business trip, I would have to take them because I would not sleep. So I get that.
Yeah. And so my uncle, I forget, my family doctor must have been like on vacation or something, because for some reason, I can't remember now, it's all a blur-ish. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, I remember contacting my uncle, who's a family doctor, and him being like, okay, let's start with sleeping pills. And we just need you to sleep. Like, we need you to rest, like, as a starting point. So I was like, all right. So I did that for a week. And I remember calling him being like, no, I feel like garbage. And then I remember like panicking one day, calling his cell phone whilst he was at work. God love him. He picked up the phone and chatted to me for like a half hour. And I was like, I think I'm finally at my last resort where I need to get medicated for anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
And I was so frantic that I would like, he's okay, I'll call on your prescription to the pharmacy. And I was like texting him like, oh, did you call it in yet? Can I go pick it up? Like, and give me a minute. And I remember breaking down crying, having the medication for the first time, because I thought that I was like a failure. And I am such an advocate now of getting medicated, because when I say it saved my life, like it literally saved my life.
Oh my God. I love hearing that, because I do know like when people like there is like when something like this is happening, especially around anxiety, people think, and we're really aggressive in our language, like with the way we're like, I got to get this, I got to kick this in the ass, I got to do this. Yeah. And they feel like it is something that they should be able to overcome on their own. I have a sister who has depression. I remember nobody even talked about this kind of stuff like they did, but not like we have an understanding of it now, like in the 90s. And I remember reading a book by one of my favorite authors, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my sister has depression. It's not a matter of having a different attitude or it's not a mindset thing. And then I was so grateful for that, because how did the medication help you?
Oh, it was like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So the one thing that sucks with, I took Zoloft, was the doctors and the pharmacists and stuff said, give it 30 days. And I'm there like, 30 days? What? I got to wait 30 days for this to kick in?
You're just like, you're like crushing it up and snorting it like in the pharmacy parking lot. You're like, I need this now.
Yeah. But luckily, for whatever reason, the anxiety portion got resolved within 4 days. Like no more heart racing. I was sleeping through the night again. I was just like, I remember the first night sleeping and not having the racing heartbeat and waking up the next morning. Oh my God.
Like you don't know how big it was until it's gone. And then it's like, you're just like, wow, that was a lot.
Oh my God. Like I just remember, and it was 4 days after I just being like, praise the Lord. But then it pretty much was like right up to the 30 days that the depression took to go away. Like it was coming and going, and I was having like good and bad days. Whereas before it was just like every single day it was a bad day.
Right.
And then I remember because it was December, I think it was December 6th, I started taking Zoloft. And I remember like just crossing my fingers and like, please God, just give me a good Christmas day. That's all I'm asking for, is not to be depressed on Christmas Day.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
And thank God I remember having a good Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day, it hit me again. But I remember by January 1st, I was like good to go. And I was just like, oh my God. Like I just felt like I had come out of the darkest time of my life.
Right.
But something that was really interesting that I did as a coping mechanism was anyone I talked to that gave me a little like whisper of hope or like a little injection of this will pass.
Right.
I wrote down what they said to me, and I kept a note file on my phone, and I opened it up during the hard times. And I remember and this was the first time I ever worked with a therapist, was when I was going through this, which once again was another thing that I was, oh my God, I got to get a therapist now. So much work over like overcoming that like shame that I had on all this stuff.
It's like people think, I know what you're talking about, the baby blues, because I for sure had those too, but it was only like for a couple of days, because I just remember thinking like, I remember being like on the hospital and they would have like baby TV. So you'd be watching like these shows on a loop. And this one show was like, oh, you're going to know what your baby's cries mean. And I just remember coming home and just being like, and then my husband saying, I thought you babysat. And I'm like, I did, but not like a 3-day-old. Like, not my own child. Like, I was like 12. Like, I was seriously like, I just remember thinking, I'm never going to know that. Like, I will never. And then 2 weeks later, my mom calls. I'm nursing. I'm talking to my mom. You get like into the swing of things. But I know that feeling of, and I remember my mom just told me, you just go into the shower and you cry until the hot water runs out.
Oh,
and that's what I did. And it was like, but I remember calling my mom because like my parents were on vacation and that kind of stuff. So I was on my own that first week, and my mom's like, how are you doing? And then I said, I am really like struggling today. And I was crying so hard that same way. Like, it's such a visceral cry.
Yes.
And she was like, how's the baby? So are you enjoying taking care of the baby? Because she was like, so she knew, even though we never talked, like no doctor in the mid 90s was like, oh, this seems like ancient, but it is, I guess, 30 years ago, where they're like, oh, hey, there's a thing called postpartum depression. You know?
Yeah. My parents didn't know what it was, because I'll backtrack for 2 seconds because I want to share this in case anyone's experiencing this, is that something that really stood out to me that my therapist said to me was, she said, what got you through that hard time? And I said, I felt hope. And she said something really interesting where she said, the clinical definition of the opposite of depression is hope. It's not happiness. It's not joy. It's hope. And so I thought that was so interesting.
Oh my God, we should make 1 million bumper stickers out of that. Wait, say it again. So the opposite of depression is not happiness.
It's hope.
It's like hopefulness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So when you're depressed, I don't have it. So I don't know. I've been sad, but like, it's a feeling like you just don't feel hope. Like you just don't feel like this is ever going to turn around. Is that what that feels like?
Yeah. And so you would get those little glimmers of that hope, and like you would hang on to that by that thread, so to speak. And that is, I think if I didn't have that little tiny glimmer of hope, I don't think I would have got through it. And so. Well,
and you just said you just had your son.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little peanut. Like George. His name is George. I'm just like, that's a big name for little baby. Yeah. So he's only 3 months old. So how were you feeling going into that pregnancy? Were you...
So something so there's, I don't know if you've ever heard this book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh.
You're like, have I?
Oh my God. That is just one of those books that so many people, for some reason, I have no idea why. I thought it was a book about eating disorders.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. So I think maybe because of the artwork on the cover. And then I had so many people recommending it to me. I was just like, I'll never read it. Like, I'm one of those people, like people are like, oh my God, you have to read this book. And I'm like, no, asshole, I'm never going to read that book. And then I'll find myself like in a bookstore, and this has happened several times with several books, and I don't even know what happens. It like drops from the ceiling and I catch it. And I'm like, how did this book even end up in my hands? That book has absolutely, completely 100% changed my life because it brought me into EFT and tapping and trauma work, which I would have never allowed myself to believe. Like, because anyways, blah, blah, blah. It's a great book. Everyone should read it. And if you're like, I'm never going to read it, that's fine. The universe will make sure you will eventually, and you're going to love it.
So a couple of interesting things happened, and I'll get back to George now and how I'm with that. But something fascinating happened. Why I bring up that book is, so I got on the Zoloft after having Zoe, and fortunately I had an amazing psychiatrist that I got referred to. And she said, because I was like, when can I get off the Zoloft thing? And she's, at least in her opinion, she's like, we like you to be on, once you feel good, we like you to be on the Zoloft for 6 months and then start to wean off after that. I was like, okay, good. So June came, I had been feeling good for the full 6 months. So we started weaning me off. So about a month and then I was off it. So I was all good. Then Zoe's birthday hits, which is in October. And so she has her first birthday. We have a great day. The very next day, I'm laying on the couch and I get this anxiety attack starting to happen.
That old familiar feeling comes again.
And I'm like,
that must just be such a weird feeling.
It was, and I was like, I remember laying on the couch being like, what is happening? Like, why am I getting anxiety?
No.
And I remember I was like literally days away from being discharged from my doctor because she was like, okay, like you're good. We'll meet with you next week and then we should be good to go and they could be discharged, blah, blah, blah. So I remember calling her office that Monday morning being like, I need to talk to her because something's going on. So long story long, I talked to her and what's happening is what's called acute stress disorder. So it's a mini version of PTSD.
Okay.
So why I bring up the body keeps the score is on a physiological level, I guess my brain was like, wait a minute. We remember this time last year, like the days were getting darker again, the same, like literal season. And I was having flashbacks to what happened last year. And my body was like, oh no. So my body was doing one thing and my brain was like, wait, but we're good. And so I had to get remedicated again.
Right.
To overcome that hump. And then the thing that I find fascinating was, so I got on medication again until that kind of dissipated and then all was good. And then I was nervous getting pregnant for the second time because I was like, am I going to get it? But I will say that I at least knew like it won't last. Like, even if I spiral down there again, we can get through this.
Right.
And I know what to look out for now. So anyways, I get pregnant on George and all is great. And then we go for the 12-week ultrasound that they do here. I know not everyone does, but anyways, they did a dating ultrasound at 12 weeks. And I go in for the ultrasound and I see the little bean there on the ultrasound and they print out the picture and I go home and I remember it's like 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm laying in bed looking at the little thing and I start to get an anxiety attack. And I was like, what the hell is happening? And I remember just sobbing, just like uncontrollably sobbing again and just being like, uh-oh, like something's happening. And I feel what happened was my body was like, uh-oh, wait a minute, we're doing this again? Right. Like seeing the actual like literal like baby there, it was like, wait, we shouldn't do this. And so my body went into that like fight or flight again.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like
so amazing because I know on a conscious level, like we're good. You're going to be fine. Yes, it's a big change, but you're going to be fine. And so I had to get remedicated again during my pregnancy because my body was going into that depression. Like now this time instead of postpartum, it was like perinatal depression and anxiety. And so,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So gave me a little kick in the butt again.
Right. Wow. That is so interesting. So then, so he's 3 months old.
Yeah.
We're obviously talking like you seem, I don't want to make any assumptions, but you seem
it has been night and day. And I'm so grateful because this is the experience that I thought I would have on Zoe. No, I'm not like being resentful to my time with Zoe. Like I think everything happens for a reason.
No, but I have 8 brothers and sisters, and my youngest brother was really colicky. And so I was like 14 when he was born. It was really fun it's fun to have like a baby in the house when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
And he was really colicky. And my mom's, don't you remember how colicky he was. And I really don't remember. Like there were a lot of kids. I guess I wasn't really keen on that. And it was so hard because it was hard to have a love feeling towards him because it was so bad. Yeah. Like I just, when you're not able to comfort, because I know what it's like when you can't comfort your child.
Yeah.
That is,
you're like, come
that's
on.
like that's the first time you're not able to do that. I remember I just wanted to, with my daughter, I just wanted to take her, hold her like just this far above the bed and pull my hands, like to almost like shock her out of it a little bit, like almost just drop her on on a pillow, like to snap out of it a little bit. Because I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I called my mom, who's a professional mother with 9 kids. And I said, I don't know what to do. And she's, what you're going to do is you're going to put her in her crib.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go sit on the front porch and you're just going to let her cry. She's safe.
Yeah.
And I am just like, okay. But that was like a really good call because I did not know what to do. Like we were both crying like at that point, it's just like, oh my gosh. So I want to talk about that time. Like then when you shifted, like this also helped you change your business a little bit too. Like how you step into your business and like hustle and professional. Talk to me about that. Like how you're forever changed because of, and better for the curveball.
It's still unfolding as I have the second child and I've given myself, so I guess the biggest thing has been giving myself grace and compassion.
Yes.
And I read something recently in this book. It's called Mother Shift by, oh my God, what's her name? I forget the name of the author now. Jessie Harold. There we go. Where she said essentially, and this was the lie that I had been believing, is that if I can't be this kick-ass entrepreneur and be a kick-ass mom, then that's like the least feminine thing I need to be able to do it all. Otherwise, what the hell's going on here? I'm not a powerful woman. And I'm only now actually like 3.5 years later discovering that I had judgment on like there's a book actually that I bought. I haven't read it yet though. It's called The Power Pause. And it's about, from what I understand, is like being like, you know what? I just had a child and I'm going to pause my career for a moment. And that doesn't make me weak or giving up or whatever. That just means my priorities have shifted right now.
Right.
And
that is such like a radical move. When I found out like I had a brain aneurysm and was going to have surgery, there's coordination of care. And then like you're between doctors. So I knew I was going to have brain surgery in early June and I ended up having it on July 31st. So it was like 8-ish weeks.
Yeah.
And all my I went to a mastermind meeting in Durango, Colorado, and all my crazy entrepreneurial friends were like, oh my God, what are you going to do before your brain surgery? And I'm like, I just found out I have an aneurysm in my brain. So I am going to do nothing except only things that bring me joy. And I'm going to give this girl a rest. Like I know your brain is designed to be like a silent engine. Like you're not supposed to be aware that it's there. And it's not that I had this awareness of my brain necessarily, but I did have an awareness that she was under a little bit of stress and I did not know that. And I kept on wondering like, why can't I do these things? And it's because I had a brain aneurysm, right? And so I totally get that. Yeah. And that felt like one of the most controversial things that I could do. Like people were just like, oh my God, like you go for it. And I'm just like, okay, I will. And then I had 2 of my friends say, they were like, I call that hashtag still life because I'm in marketing. So I've got to come up with a campaign, right? And so I had 2 friends who did it with me. And what was so interesting is I had an extenuating circumstance to slow down. And I also physically was very different too. So it was very easy for me to take it really easy. My energy was a lot different. But like my friends who jumped in with me, they had no extenuating circumstance. It was truly something that they wanted to do. What was very interesting is that they both called me like 3 weeks in and they're like, you know what? I feel like I'm behind on stuff, but they're not. But it's like this feeling that they have. And I'm like, that's just that dog whistle that's going to try to get you to come back into working the way that you were. Because I find when I slow down, and that was like my goal for the comeback is to not go back to business as usual, to remember the pace. And I remember starting to fall back into it, thinking I was behind because I was like taking like things intentionally slow. Yeah. And then I got COVID and I was like, perfect. Because then I had to take care of myself. So then it was like, and I was really sick. Like I was sick for 3 weeks. It was like a long, But it was such a good thing because if I had COVID then, I think I should have gone back into that hustle because it happens very easily too, especially, I don't know. I like this, and no offense to men at all, but moms, there's like a lot of detail in here. It's like a different, it's like
the
a
mental
different
load. Is something else.
Like my husband and son were talking about how there are these TikToks where these women go to Target and their husband has done the Target run, and then the people come out to deliver the stuff.
Yeah.
Like the stuff. And so the woman gets upset because she can't go shopping. And I'm like, the woman does not get upset because she can't go into Target. She gets upset because she knows that her husband's not going to remember everything she needs to get at Target.
Yeah.
I said, that's what she's upset about. I said, there's a huge difference. And it's so funny. Ask any like woman about that. She's like, no, my husband's, you would not trust me. I'm like, I would absolutely not trust you. Not even, not without a list. My God, you don't even know my coffee order that I've been drinking for 15 years. Yeah.
But Target, we had it in Canada for a day and then they're like, oh, we're pulling out of Canada.
Why?
They had supply chain issues apparently.
Oh, that's a bummer. Cause it's like a really wonderful.
I love. So whenever I go to the US, I'm like, Target. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And there are like good ones and better ones. They're definitely so. So as a speaking of Target, speaking of abundance, which is like Target's like my anti-abundance.
Yeah.
Role that. But talk to me about how you help women redefine abundance. So here is a stat. So I am literally on this like mission because I heard this stat that was very alarming, which is only 12% of female-owned businesses ever scale to six figures.
No way.
Yes. I was just like, in the US, according to our Small Business Administration. And then I was curious. I was just like, I wonder if there's any correlation between the equity gender pay gap in the US, which is 28%.
Yeah.
And female founders' revenues versus male founders' revenues. Yeah, actually, female founders they pay themselves on average, drumroll please, 28% less than men. I was just like, oh my God. So then you won't even wait. This is such a good stat. I might have to like take out a billboard and seriously. Okay. So if women-owned businesses hit the same revenues, because there's a revenue gap, right? Let's just assume it's like around 30%.
Okay.
And there's so many women-owned businesses and male-owned businesses. So if their revenues were to match that of male-owned businesses, it would add $8 trillion to the US economy.
Wow.
If minority-owned women businesses were able to achieve revenues as non-minority female-owned businesses, it would add $981 billion to the economy.
Holy wow.
So there's power in parity. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Seriously. I know. Isn't that, because I want to rally people around it, but I don't want women to not become entrepreneurs because they're just like, shit, I have 88% against me, like 88%.
Yeah.
And so I don't want anyone to think about that, but I find that 8 trillion figure to be very exciting. I was just like, holy crap.
Speaking of stats, now I don't remember the exact stat because it was years ago, but when I did my MBA, one of my favorite courses was a negotiations course.
I had
this, and I had this female prof who was amazing. And I remember her putting up a slide of the stat on how many men negotiate their salaries versus how many women negotiate their salaries.
Interesting.
And I can't remember what it was now, but it was like a staggering difference in how many men do versus how many women. And that's where it starts, is right out of the gate, the men are like, I want X amount, or I want to get this. They're asking for it. Whereas women are going into the interview just taking what they're given.
Right. Because we're told to not ask. Like one of my bosses, I've had my own business for 11 years, but one of my bosses, and really, honestly, most important mentors in my life, she gave me this book like in 2000, I want to say, and it's called Women Don't Ask. And I actually still have the copy of it. And I picked it up and I was flipping through it and I'm like, this is like as relevant today as it was 25 years ago. Like,
absolutely.
We're still like, I think it's starting to change a little bit more, but not as quickly as I would like to see. Because I see female entrepreneurs discounting
Oh my God. There is this hilarious video clip from Denise Duffield Thomas on the difference between men selling and women selling. And it went viral for her. This was, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
But essentially, to recap, what she does is she says, like, if a man has, I don't know, a pen that he's selling, he's, hey, Heather, would you like to buy my pen? And you're like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right, here you go. It's $2, whatever it is. Okay, perfect, done. A woman sells the same pen. She's, hey, Heather, would you like this pen? But if you don't have the money right now for it, that's totally fine. I can put you on a payment plan. Or if you buy 2, I'll give you a 20% discount. It is just hilarious how we just add so many layers and make it complicated. We're just sell the damn thing.
Right.
It's just
like,
say the price.
I met this realtor the other day, and I don't know why she was telling me this, but like she immediately said, hi, I discount my rates significantly. And I'm like what? So it's like a 6% commission is standard.
Yeah.
She discounts to 1.5%.
No.
And I still do all the staging and I do all the stuff. Now, I live in a market in Denver, Colorado. That's like a super hot market.
Mm-hmm.
So believe me, if you're still making like 1.5%, you could still be making like easily like 10 grand. Yeah. Which is nice commission. But if she charged 6%, she'd be making 60 grand. Right.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that is so interesting. Like, why do you do that? And she said, I really want to get clients. And of course, like we know that it does not work that way. And if you do get clients, they're usually like super shitty, which is what her experience is being like. And I was just like, no. And she's, you know what? I think it comes down like, I just don't have the confidence.
Yeah. And that's where this started from, was when I started my coaching business 10 years ago. I started in like general life coaching. And then as I got more into it, I'm like, this is really annoying that women are not asking for what they want. This whole money thing is so uncomfortable for them.
Yes.
What the hell is going on here? And it killed me to see women discounting themselves, like scraping by when they are so freaking talented. I literally, so there's this new, and shout out if she listens to this podcast, there's this new-ish business that started up a couple months ago by this local doula. And she also happens to be a chef, a Red Seal chef. So she started up this business where she makes these, and actually just had one right before this podcast interview, where she makes these amazing home cooked meals for you. She drops them off to your house, and they're like these fabulous meals. And it's like her going rate when she first launched it, I think was $13 a meal. Yeah. Dropped off to your house. So it irks me so much when people discount and are uncomfortable. I literally wrote her and I was like, okay, here's my order. And by the way, you need to raise your prices.
Yes. Like I always tell people, raise your prices for everyone else but me. But know that like I'm the one that's helping you raise your prices. Yeah. No, but it's true. It's like I go through an exercise with my clients. Like I have a program called Radical Branding, and the pricing one is really interesting because I'm not opposed to people. Like, for instance, I have a client who's in the program right now, and she's a professional speaker, and she's just getting started. So she has like she has a great reputation, right? So she's coming out at a higher rate. Yeah. But she took a rate that was a discounted rate that she calls like her give back rate, but we're evaluating. Why are you discounting? She's like, because I can get in front of all these executives and it's a small group. And I really think that then that's going to be really great because I'm going to be able to so we have a reason for discounting as opposed to just, I don't think people are going to pay it. And and I think especially now what I'm seeing with consumers too is like people are buying, but they're actually buying more expensive things, but they're being really discerning. Yeah. So it's not people are just like, my number one pet peeve is when people are like, my audience doesn't have money. And I'm like, that's not true. Someone always has money. Always. Yeah. And no matter what price point, like some people, no matter how low you go, there's always going to be someone that's like, even if it's $1 for whatever you offer, someone's going to be like, things are really like, can you give it to me for free? So you will never please everyone. Yes. And so please yourself first and foremost, and make sure that you put that roof over your head and beyond, because some people are not even able to do that. And it's, what do you see? Because I work with people like on a marketing and branding perspective, and you're really working with them on their financial life. So what are some of the things that that just why this happened, why we're even talking about this in the year 2025?
Good question. What we were just talking about, them so awkward to ask for what they want. And actually both things thus far. Pricing is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then the other one that comes up is this discomfort over what will people think. And this one is a huge one for so many people where we have this belief of, I got to work really hard to make money. If we make money in a way that we perceive to be easy, we'll somehow make it harder to justify that we earned that. So, and I've been there too, where like I have built many courses over the years. And I remember one time I made a sale in my sleep. The dream, it's like you wake up and you have a sale and you're like, oh my God. I remember waking up and seeing that sale in my inbox. And I was like, I should check in on that person and see. And it's this passive course, you self-study course, like you do it on your own. And I'm like, maybe I should go in and add in an extra like bonus coaching call. And I caught myself trying to add in more stuff because at a deeper level, there was this discomfort of, it doesn't get to be that easy to make money. Right. Who are you to do this? And I have this thing, this kind of like short line that reminds me that it's safe for me to make money easily, is where I say, raise your damn hand. Because, and where it came from was back in 2019, I was laying on a lawn chair in Maui, Hawaii, looking at this.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, and laying by the pool, which overlooked the beach and the ocean and stuff. And there's this huge, like probably multi-million dollar home to the left of me. And I remember like looking at that, just having one of those moments, be like, who owns that? Like,
are they happy?
Yeah. And you just go through the scenario, like, what do they do for a living? And do they visit often? And like, how does it feel? Like all these things, you're just kind of like dreaming up what it would be like to have that. And I'm like, somebody raised their hand for that, so to speak. Like I kind of have this weird visual where I think there are like a trillion opportunities in the world and the universe is like, who wants it? Like who, right? And so this person was like, sure, I'll volunteer for that one.
Right, yeah.
And something really interesting that I did at an event back in September was I held up a $50 bill and I said, who wants this? And everyone in the room was like raising their hand. I'm like, who wants this money? And once again, like, everyone's like, oh, I want it. Eventually, after about a minute, one of the women in the audience stands up and she comes up to me. She takes the $50 out of my hand. I'm like, there you go. You can have it. And everyone in the room was like, oh, because it was like, yeah, I said, who wants this money? And all of you just sat there and said, yeah, I want it. But you actually didn't do any. Yeah.
My God. Wait a second.
Yeah.
You little sneaky sneaks.
Right.
That is so powerful.
And I said, and the biggest thing with that was not only like the, damn it, I could, no, actually it wasn't even, it was $100. It was $100. Okay. It wasn't $50. It was $100. But I said, what went on in your head as this was all going down? And so many of them afterwards shared like, I really wanted it, but I thought, I can't stand up and get that. Can I really go up and just take that from Emily? All the stuff we tell ourselves. And it's so symbolic of how we apply that to other areas in our life.
Oh my God. Like I was just talking with one of my mentors because I had like brain surgery, right? So I had a life-changing experience last year.
Yeah.
And I said, but I don't want to like exploit that. She's, you're not exploiting it. You're not exploiting it. And she's, it's not like you're hijacking someone else's story or exploiting a child. She's, this is an experience that happened to you that really made you like rethink a lot of things and do some things that are really interesting. And she's talk about that. But all I could hear is my Midwestern mom saying, they're going to think you're showing off. And I had to really journal on that.
Oh yeah.
Because I was just imagine, that is such a really interesting thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And how like just like,
yeah,
shrink back. I know in Australia, they call it like the tall poppy syndrome. Where like you don't want to be the tall poppy in the field, like sticking out, like we're gonna be the same height.
Why not? That is so interesting. And I pay attention to, because I have a son, you have a son and a daughter too. Yeah. And what's interesting is, yes, we raise our children, but society also raises them too. Because I just remember like our son, when he was a freshman in high school, like one of our dogs died. And so we had to tell him it happened like overnight. So then we had to like, when he woke up for school.
Oh.
And I know. And so he was upset and I could see the emotion go across his face. And then he's, I need a minute, because I knew he was going to cry, but he learned boys don't cry. And I'm like, when did that happen? Not from this mom, but like society. So it's like real. I just think like when women feel, and then I just think imposter syndrome is just such like a patriarchal concept too. Do you ever just think, oh, I don't feel qualified? It's like, that's such a male. I don't know why. I just am like, I don't know about that. And then we're supposed to adopt that. I don't know. It's just like, when a woman, if she's feeling a little nervous getting out there, stepping over that line and saying, hey, world, I'm open for business. Like, she is going up a millennia of people telling her, look, you don't show off, you don't promote, you don't brag, you don't ask, and you certainly don't ask for anything more than you deserve. Or because what kind of woman are you? And that just is, and that is real. Like, I used to not think like, I got really into feminist stuff over the pandemic. And I'm just like, I guess I am a feminist because it's a real thing. I see it. And of course we're changing a millennia of like how men and women interacted together, and women like earning money and things like that too. It's still pretty new. It's 50 years. It's not that long.
Yeah.
You know,
and we've been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that little like grain of sand on the beach that like, in terms of the newness of this.
Yes. Seriously. Oh my gosh, Emily King, I could just talk with you. I wish you lived in Denver so you could come over to my house right now. We could sit. It's really nice. I would sit on my back porch.
It's on my list of places I want to go to one of these days. So yeah.
If you ever come, you have to bring your kids too, because I love babies. Yeah. So if people want to find out about you and how they can work with you, or if they're just thinking, I want to, or they have any questions about like, because we talked a lot about postpartum, and we talked a little bit about abundance and financials. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about?
I would say the best way to check out my stuff and support themselves is to check out my podcast, the Money and Miracles podcast. Okay. Yeah, Money and Miracles.
Love that. I'm going to write that down.
And then they can go to my website, emilyking.ca, CA for Canada.
Yes.
And yeah, the podcast is just filled. And I have a whole episode on the podcast about the postpartum stuff. And
wonderful.
Actually, I know you mentioned imposter syndrome. There's an episode, a semi-recent episode there about imposter syndrome and how it's actually a good thing, and embrace it and let it along for the ride. Yeah.
Right. Why is that? This is so funny because sometimes my favorite part of my curveball interviews are like when we're wrapping it up, we're just like, okay. And then I'm just like, tell me that one more thing. Yeah.
So imposter syndrome is great because it means that you've started.
Yeah.
And
I like that. Yes.
And Seth Godin, who wrote the book, The Practice, shares a really good example of imposter syndrome where he says, say you've never ran a day in your life, Heather, and you're like, I don't know, I'm going to get into this running thing. So you buy the running shoes, you buy the cute little running outfit, and you're like, all right, I'm going to go out for a run today. The first day you go out for a run, you're not an actual runner. You're imposing, you're like pretending to be this runner. You look the part.
That. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You do that the second time, you wouldn't go to your friends and say, oh yeah, I'm a runner. But you keep doing that over and over until eventually one of these days you're like, yeah, I'm a runner. I run 3 times a week or whatever it is. But you have to start as that imposter in order to become a runner.
Oh my God. I love that. There's a line from called Fake It Till You Make It.
Yeah. And I know some people hate that. Some people are like, oh, you can't fit in. But I'm like, I wasn't born, say, a public speaker. I wasn't born a wealth and abundance coach. Like, I faked it, showed up and acted the part. And even actually, this is a little side note, but as a mom now of 2 and having hired some help, like a doula and a babysitter and that kind of stuff, I used to suck at asking for help.
Yes.
And literally, I remember I had my babysitter over the other week to help me not only babysit, but also when the baby was down, declutter my kitchen and reorganize it and stuff, because she's amazing at that. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'm so awkward for like, how do I direct her?
That's what I call babysitter with benefits.
Oh, yes.
Legit.
Yes, I love that. So I remember just telling myself, Emily, if you were someone that was awesome at asking for help, what would you do? Like, how would you show up?
Yeah.
How would you interact with her? And that's literally all I did. Like, that was just the mindset shift.
I'm putting together an offer called 6-Figure Founders exactly for that, to help people step into the identity of a 6-figure founder, because, and it doesn't even matter. Like, one of my friends, his wife is like this, or girlfriend is like this. She's like a CHRO at a big company.
Mm-hmm.
She banks. Like, she probably makes $400,000 or $500,000 a year, maybe. And she just does not believe that she could have a business where she makes over $100,000 a year.
Oh, interesting.
It's really interesting. Yeah. So it doesn't even matter, because I work with a lot of people from corporate, like they're corporate executives. They start their own business, or they got laid, like a lot of people are getting laid off. Mm-hmm. Just like, this is a time. And what's interesting is they ask the question, am I good because I'm good at my job, or am I good because I had this resourced company where I had a team? Mm-hmm. Like, can I really do it? And so I think that, but it's like one of the biggest, literally, like, I think everyone has like these moments on their entrepreneurial journey where they hear a piece of advice, and I may have heard it before, but when you're ready to hear it, like the kind that literally changes everything. And that was when one of my mentors said, I don't really think about what I want. I just think, who do I need to become to get the things that I want?
Ooh,
and I was just like,
that.
So she has like 9-figured aspirations. I don't have that. But like, when I say, what does 7-figure Heather do? I can tell you 7-figure Heather is like, it is not going to be like $50,000 Heather or 5-figure Heather. So you really have to think about it. Like, how do you show up and step into that identity first? Yeah. And then the other stuff becomes easy. Like,
and it's going to be uncomfortable, because I think that people want it to be comfortable.
No, it's never comfortable.
No. If you're waiting for it to be comfortable.
Like, sometimes it's the worst. There's a part in my program where and I have AI to help my students, but there's a part that's, we work on our offers. It's the only part of the program that does not have any AI support, because I'm like, you have to be able to meet the AI halfway with your offer. You cannot have AI create your offer for you. Please don't do that, because it's stupid. It doesn't know. There's a reason they call it artificial intelligence, right? It is so painful. And I will always have a couple of my clients during that week, like, they're breaking down. And I'm like, this is the discomfort. This is the growth. Think about, and I really do. Do you ever think God was like, okay, I need an amazing metaphor for life? And then he's, okay, the caterpillar and the butterfly. What could be more perfect than that? Like, seriously, that's like the liquefication of everything to come out the other side.
Yeah. And an affirmation that I like put in my back pocket when those moments come up is I remember saying this to myself when I was leaving for a flight to go to my first speaking gig that I was getting paid to fly away for, where
how cool.
I was like, I love getting uncomfortable, because that's where change happens. Yes. That's where growth happens. And I just recited that, like, I love getting uncomfortable because that's where growth happens. And it was just like, okay, we're doing this. Yeah. Deep breath, dive into it. Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's like, you can, I work that some people you can hide behind different things. But the thing is, the only way, like, I just know with marketing, you can take all the classes and you can read and you can listen to 1 million podcasts, but the only way through is through. Yeah. You're not going to learn how to do it until you actually do it. And so and that's just life. I always say, like, this too, like, sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Sometimes, but it always does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Emily King. This is like my longest chat I've had with anyone. It is so much fun. Please move to Colorado. I'll take care of your kids. I'll be your babysitter.
Love that. Okay. Love that.
Take care. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.